How much do you personally blame President Biden for this loss?
President Biden, when he came into office, said that he would be the most progressive president since FDR. And I think on domestic issues, not foreign policy, on domestic issues, he has kept his word, and the agenda that he has pushed through has been an extraordinarily strong one. But that agenda has got to be placed within the overall context of American society today. And that American society today is one in which tens of millions of working families and elderly people are struggling, while the people on top have never had it so good.
So I play that partially because, like, if anyone like a Nancy Pelosi or a Hakeem Jeffries or whatever is going to be like, Bernie Sanders doesn't understand the Democratic Party, he's just unfairly sniping from the sideline. No, look at that. That was like, I think, too much of a defense of Joe Biden theoretically. It's more than I would defend him, and I think of myself as being willing to give credit where credit is due. He is not being unfair. It is not low blows. It is advice coming from the point of view of a person who's been trying for literally decades to deliver for the Democratic Party where necessary, but mainly for the workers of America, for the American people. And so I put that out there, Francesca, to show that he's not just, everybody after the election is like, I was always right, and you are all stupid, and you all messed up. He's not doing that. I do think that he's being fair, and I think that needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah, let's just complete what he said. What he basically means is, yeah, you can have the most progressive agenda and have passed some of the most progressive legislation in, decades or since FDR, but that still doesn't meet the moment of the crisis in American society and the crisis of inequality. Sometimes we all kind of glaze over when he goes to numbers, but it's truly a crisis of wealth inequality. You have one side that is fully backed by billionaires, gleefully so. And in fact, some people like the fact that Donald Trump is only backed by billionaires, as if somehow billionaires are not also corporate owned or want, lower tax rates for corporations. So that's really the thing, is like, this is what I meant about writing on the wall. Look, it's like, these reforms are good. They are, however, not enough. And they are not enough to win you re-election, or in this case, electing Kamala Harris. And yes, it was a thankless and difficult task for Kamala Harris to hitch her horse to a dying campaign that promised to be transitional, that promised to have bigger ideas, and was not able to deliver on those things.
Yeah, I mean, Biden had already been half turned into glue at that point. That is a difficult position. And we'll get later in the show, we'll be talking about Charlemagne and his defense of Harris and everything. But yeah, I will also say one thing that's sort of floating around the back of my head is, obviously, I think Bernie Sanders and his message has a lot of crossover appeal. Tomorrow on the show, we'll be talking about all of the people who voted for Trump and AOC, and AOC sort of addressed that. But there is something there about the messaging. And that doesn't mean that I think the messaging is perfect. I do think we at some point maybe need to contend with the fact that, and this will never make sense to me, and I've made very clear how much it bothers me over the years, the American people have been propagandized to. Since the day they were born, billionaires are better than you. And that's okay. Worship them, love them. And so you simultaneously have these MAGA people who feel like they're against a thing that represents the status quo and the elite, but the specific members of it, they're mostly okay with. Okay, and I think that maybe we need to adapt that. Maybe there's a 1.1 version of Bernie Sanders rhetoric that gets to the status quo and those in power. But I don't know, like, I think there is something to the being a little bit vaguer, using a term perhaps that we know what it means and we know who's included in it, but it, I don't know, doesn't butt up against the propaganda that people have internalized. I'm working on it. If anybody has a term, perhaps feel free to throw it out. I'll read your comments, but
socialism,
something I'm thinking about. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.